Get rid of your credit card debt, get a lower monthly payment, and skip your next 2 house payments at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket to save thousands with SaveWithConrad.com. Find out how much money you can save right now at SaveWithConrad.com.
Flair, 16 times your world heavyweight champion, the host of Woo Nation, along with my co-host, Conrad Thompson, the legendary billionaire.
Oh my God.
Side by side with the legendary Jim Andrews in the state of Alabama.
Oh my God.
And today, I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there are 3 people in my entire life that I've idolized, that I've wanted to meet, and today, of course, I've known this gentleman for a long time. But the 3 people that I wanted to meet in my lifetime and hang around, and I've accomplished all that, and today I have him as a guest on my podcast. It's the legendary Lawerence Taylor, LT, the man, the myth. And as Shannon Sharp, who didn't even play against LT, said on First Take last week, the greatest football player that ever lived. Not quarterback, not running back, the greatest football player. And I don't think you ever played against Shannon Sharp, did you?
Shannon, I really don't think so. I think Shannon might have been my last year, or may have been his first year.
Yeah, but I mean, you never had to kick his ass, but he was...
No. He's going to line up on the outside, I promise you.
Yeah. Hey, so listen, the first 2, just so you know, were Wilt Chamberlain. I met him in Honolulu about 10 years before he died, and of course the other one's Joe Namath. So, and I don't think there's much that Joe hasn't done that you and I haven't done either, if we're just be honest about it. So, good Lord. Lawerence Taylor. So, Lawerence, I have to tell you, I think the first time I ever saw you was at Hampton Roads Coliseum.
Yeah.
And then from there you came and watched me as a high school kid. And then from there...
That's back there when you was wrestling, you was tag teaming, and you was wrestling George Becker and Johnny Weaver.
That's right, I know. Jesus, I'm embarrassed that you're old enough to remember that.
Yeah, boy, you sit back and be mad as a mud because, you guys were always the bad guys.
Yeah.
And George Becker and Johnny Weaver was always the good guys, but y'all beat them every time. You should make me madder than I couldn't tell you how.
Yeah, we had to kick their ass, man, to keep it straight. And obviously you followed suit because you didn't care whose ass you kicked over the years.
No, I don't. I was very fortunate, man, because I played in a time when football was real football. It's like nowadays it's crazy money. They're making 10 times what I ever made in the league and stuff, and I understand that. But back there when you couldn't move to another team, you had to. It was just like, hey, when they got you, and they're gonna keep you as long as they can keep you, and. So it was really nothing that you can do. So it wasn't about playing to get paid more money. It's about playing because you're going to be there. So when I played, man, hey, I want the guy that's playing across me to know that no matter what he do, I'm going to kick his ass all day.
Yeah, I know. Hey, just going back before we continue, I got to tell you a great story. So you remember Ron Simmons from Florida State?
Of course.
Okay, so you and Ron apparently were on the East-West All-Star Shrine team at the East-West Games. That sound right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Ron said he had just met you for the first time. You guys were on the same team, and you lined up, and he said, God damn it, Rick, he said, all of a sudden, LT started hollering at this quarterback words I can't say. I'm going to kick you. I'm going to kill you. I mean, here I come, you son of a bitch. And Ron Simmons said he turned around, and it was you screaming at everybody on the field. He said, that was my first introduction to Lawerence Taylor, telling everybody off.
I tell you, football is a special game, and it takes special people to play it. It's an emotional game, and you got to, you can't play dirty, but you got to play hard.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. I like, when I played, I didn't want you. Don't give me your second stringer. If the second stringer is going to play, then I don't need to play the game. I want to see the best, because that's the only way I can judge my talents, by playing against the best. And I played against some of the best players that has ever played in this league. So I was very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, the football is, as you know, I mean, you watch it now. It's absolutely ridiculous the way they've changed the rules. I mean, guys,
Yeah.
I say it all the time. I don't think that you could play a quarter right now without getting kicked out of the game.
I tell you what, it's a safer game. It's not as physical as it used to be. It's a safer game.
Yeah.
For injuries and stuff like that. But I don't know how. You go out and play a football game and you don't hit during the week. I mean, you got to, I got to have contact. I mean, that's the only way I can get ready for a game. I got to have contact. I got to hit somebody, or somebody got to hit me to knock me in my face and to just make me think about it or something. But
I don't remember seeing you get knocked on your face too much, or your ass. I don't remember seeing that.
I've had a couple. Chicago, and I got cheap shotted, but I've had a couple in my career, mostly in practice before, more than games.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, one of the greatest memories, and I'm just going to go. I didn't write anything down. I'm just kind of going from me knowing you and our career and having fun together. Is 1986. Dusty Rhodes, of course, all about John Elway and the Denver Broncos, right? Ric Flair, big party at my house, Arn Anderson, and Arn Anderson's as big a Lawerence Taylor fan as I am. And you guys took it to the Orange Crush that night, man, and that was the first Super Bowl, I think, right? 86?
Yeah, the first one we had ever been in, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal. I think that year you had like 20 and a half sacks.
Yeah, I was fortunate to be NFL Most Valuable Player that year.
Yeah, I like the way you say fortunate. I mean, you got to remember now, you were inducted what year in the Hall of Fame now?
1990.
1990. Okay,
Yeah.
So here we are.
Well, no. I was inducted 99.
Inducted 99.
Yes, right,
Okay.
99.
So here we are,
90.
16 years later, right?
Yeah.
And Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, name it, everybody, the greatest football player that ever lived. And this is not while you're playing, because you ended up 93 was your last year, correct?
93 season, 94 year.
Yeah, okay. So, and people still say you're the greatest football player. I mean, it always comes into perspective with this deal with Brady and all this stuff, but nobody ever compares any quarterback from Brett Favre, and I mean, Brett was great, we all know that, Peyton Manning, all these guys, but when it comes to the greatest football player, and I think it speaks volumes for how good you were, and it speaks volumes for the fact that your legacy has just carried on, and it's the most famous legacy on defensive football that's ever been around. Would you agree?
Well, you know what? I really look at it different ways. I look at I think I'm a pretty good player. Yeah, I was a pretty good player.
Okay.
But when I look at some of the greatest defensive players that ever played, I look at Deacon Jones.
Yep.
I look at Reggie White.
Yep.
And I fall somewhere. You could actually throw our names up and when they land, you wouldn't really care which way it landed because we're all pretty good damn players.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I think Reggie White.
That's the way I look at it. Do I think I'm the best defensive player to ever play the game? That's arbitrary. And like I said, there's a few names you can put in the pile. You throw them up, whichever way they come out, nobody's mad. Nobody.
No, I totally agree. I'm just casting my vote, and I'm hearing people. I mean, people talk about Deacon, and they didn't record sacks back then. And Reggie White, of course, was a very close friend of mine. But Reggie, those guys play defensive end. And I think that you do have to give yourself credit. And I'm going to give it to you as everybody else does. Mm-hmm. You redefined a position, and you made every offensive scheme change. When Lawerence Taylor was playing, and people acknowledge it. I mean, it's common knowledge that when Perkins drafted you, I mean, and within a couple of months, people were trying to figure out who this guy is, man, because we don't know how to defend him. And I think that's a compliment that's always going to go. The closest guy to you that I ever saw, God rest his soul, was Derek Thomas. The Alabama guy, right?
It was a very good player. In a way, I judge great players. Anybody can have a good game. Anybody can play well, but can he carry? Can he make other people better?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I look at. You got to be able to change the outcome of a game. You got to be able to make the guys around you play better. And that's what constitutes a great defensive player. He can play well, but he makes other players around him play better, and that's what I like about my game.
Yeah, and also longevity. I mean, you don't.
Longevity it has a lot to do.
Yeah, everybody's great after 2 years. The word "great" can't even be applied to somebody who played 5 years. Or in my business, especially, this guy's great. I don't know. He's been wrestling for 5 years, and Lawerence Taylor doesn't know who he is. He's not great. Does that make sense? No, I mean,
it's so funny, and I understand what you're saying because I see a lot of players have great years.
Yeah.
But greatness is over time. So I mean, can he do it year after year after year? Look at JPP. He had a great rookie year. Mm-hmm. And everybody was looking and saying that he was going to be the next great thing. But, hey, you got to do it over time. You got to do it over time. That's the only way you can measure yourself. You got to do it over time. So
the same thing applies to our business. Our business arguably isn't as challenging as yours, but it's very physical. We've got, as I argue the point with people every day, we have 7 guys with career-ending broken necks in the last 5 years. So,
wow.
Even though it's choreographed, and by the way, Pat Patterson told me to tell you hello. He said one of the greatest moments was being the agent when you wrestled Bam Bam.
Yeah, Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun, though. I tell you, but it's hard work, man. I tell you what, it gets tiring out there.
No, nobody gets it. I mean, I tell these guys, Pat said that. He said, "What do you want to do?" And you said, "What do you want to do?" Because I got to tell you, LT, I have seen a lot of guys from Ernie Holmes. You remember that name, right?
Yeah, of course.
And Otis Sistrunk way before you, right? Yeah. I've seen these guys try to get in our business, and man, they don't last an hour. Because it is physical, number one, and the required time where they go over. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Like you need to be helped out. Like Pat told me that you could have been one of the best wrestlers of all time if you wanted to hang around for a year. That's a hell of a compliment.
One thing I learned about wrestling,
Yeah.
When if they tell you don't move. Don't move.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, because you can get hurt if you do. If you laying down and they're going to do a stunt where they're going to jump and twirl in the air and come down. Hey, don't move.
Yeah, hold still.
Because if you do, you'll be carried out of there. I promise you.
Oh yeah. I tell you, and the young guys a lot of times, don't know how to make a blade. So they call me the doctor because I'm pretty good at that. Uh-huh. And I'll tell a guy, because they're scared to death, right? Don't move, man, or I'll cut your head off. So a couple of the guys have got 25 stitches just because they won't hold still.
I understand that. I know how that, because I'll tell you something, like you said, some of the stuff is choreographed, but
yeah.
It's a physical. It's very physical. I'll tell you what. And one of the best athletes I've ever seen as a big man, I'm tell you what, and I've seen a lot of great athletes. was that Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, yeah.
As big as he was, I mean, he was light on his feet. He was quick. I mean, hey, he was just a great athlete.
Yeah, he was. You know,
he was just a great athlete.
And he left us way too early. I'm not even sure what happened exactly, but he was a good guy. He was a huge card in Japan, and did well here too. But anyway, I had called yesterday trying to figure out who the agent was on that, and he said he just had a ball with you because a lot of the guys, you know, they get intimidated, and it's really strange because, you know, first of all, I know Lawerence Taylor isn't going to be intimidated walking into a wrestler's locker room, but a lot of the guys are. The only three guys that have come into the business and been as natural as you are, that didn't give a shit about anybody and didn't think twice about something going wrong, right? Were you, Kevin Green, and of course our buddy Mongo from Las Vegas. Good Lord. By the way,
Kevin Green, he's a specimen too. I'm really surprised he hasn't gotten to the Hall of Fame yet. You know, he's going to have to wait his turn. But
yeah, well, he's brokenhearted about it too.
His time is ready is about up. I mean, he's about time to take his little walk too. You know. Yeah,
well, he's brokenhearted about it too. I just was with Derek Brooks the other day, and Derek and I were talking about it. But I think this year the kid from the 49ers, the outside linebacker, defensive end, what's his name? Is
Charles Haley?
Yeah, Charles Haley. I think he's the guy they're pointing at. So,
yeah, Charles was way overdue.
Yeah,
and he has the credentials. He had the credentials to be in the Hall of Fame, and I think that Kevin Green is the next one that's going to have his number called up.
Yeah, I think so too. I hope so. It's hard to believe he was a walk-on at Auburn, huh?
Yeah, it is.
He never even got recruited. Isn't that crazy? And the guy turns out to be, I guess, like 120 sacks. So, and a great guy and tough. Kevin's pretty tough, man. I have to give him his due. So tell me, when at Carolina did you realize how good you were going to be?
Oh, wow. You know what? I tell you.
You just started playing in the ninth grade, right?
Huh?
You just started playing football in the ninth grade, right?
11th.
Junior year, yeah.
Junior? Holy cow.
Yeah. Before that, 11th year.
Yeah, he was playing baseball.
And it was funny that, like I said, when I started playing football, I used to get my ass kicked every day, but as time went on, and in my junior year, I started like the fifth game of the season because the guy who was on the first team, he went down like the first play of the second quarter, and they put me in the game, and I just made play after play after play. And then I caused the fumble and recovered the fumble and scored a touchdown on it, which we won the game. And it was so amazing that every game after that, I just got better and better and better and better.
Yeah.
Until by my senior year, I was preseason All-American. You know, so and I just. My senior year, I never had a bad game. So it just got lucky. And same thing when I went to the college. And when I went to college, the thing was, I was a good player for my high school, but when you go to college, everybody's a good player.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that. So, and the thing was, I didn't really start to gel in college until I guess around my junior year, because I didn't realize. I always wanted to be known in college, because you walk around the university and everybody would talk about this one player or this other player who played here years ago, and I wanted to have a legacy that says, hey, you know what? Hey, I want to be remembered when I leave this place. So the thing was, I didn't know the difference of being feared and being respected. That was I always wanted to be feared. I thought that was respect. I didn't learn until my junior year being respected
Yeah, well,
it's better than being feared.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I think you accomplished both. I mean, it's just amazing. I know that at Carolina, I mean, it's they've never no one's followed your act since. I mean, if you think about Carolina, and they had some great athletes, but the two guys that stand out are Michael Jordan and Lawerence Taylor.
But how do you beat that? I mean, if you're a college and you're, kind of hanging your hat on the success that guys had in your program, how do you beat Lawerence Taylor and Michael Jordan? I mean, those are the two greatest of all time.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's like I said, the first 2 years I was feared. Everybody knew me. Listen, don't go into a bar with him because hey, he's gonna turn that place out. Right? But hey, that was the first part. But once I learned how to be respected, and in my junior year, when we played the NC State, I had a great game, and I never had a bad game after that. And became, by the senior year, I was, ACC Player of the Year,
yep.
and got all kinds of awards and stuff. But I mean, and I had a pretty good career behind it. But football was my life. I mean, that's what I eat, sleep, and dream about when I was playing. And I tell you, right now I don't watch as much football. The game has changed. I've changed, and there's other things in life that I have to deal with.
I'll be right back. It's time to shine my 16 world titles.
Man, oh man, do I love talking about Henson Shaving. I absolutely love this razor. It's the best shave of my life, and it's also cheaper than what I've been doing. I had a shave earlier today. My barber actually uses a Henson razor now. I showed her, and she could not believe the difference. Seriously, this is the best razor we've ever used. That's why you got to meet Henson Shaving. Henson Shaving is a family-owned aerospace parts manufacturer that's made parts for both the International Space Station and the Mars rover, and now they're bringing precision engineering to your shaving experience. You see, razor blades are like diving boards. The longer the board, the more the wobble. The more the wobble, the more likely you are to get nicks, cuts, and scrapes. You see, a bad shave isn't a bad blade problem. It's an extension problem. By using aerospace-grade CNC machines, Henson makes metal razors that extend just 0.0013 inches, which is less than the thickness of a human hair, and that means a secure and stable blade with a vibration-free shave. And it gets better. The razor also has built-in channels to evacuate hair and cream, which makes clogging virtually impossible. Seriously, Henson Shaving wants the best razor, not the best razor business. That means no plastic, no subscriptions, no proprietary blades, no planned obsolescence. The Henson razor works with a standard dual-edge razor blade to give you that old-school nature boy shave with the benefits of new-school tech. And once you own a Henson razor, check this out. It's only $3 to $5 a year to replace the blades. I have to admit, I was blown away by this. I have hammered it enough around the office. My dad finally said, okay, I give. I'll check it out. So I went and I actually saw how affordable the razor is because I was lucky. They sent me a free one to vet. I fell in love, and I ordered one for the office. I ordered one for my shave kit. Even my barber got one, and yes, Dad has one too. You're going to love it because, seriously, $3 to $5 a year for blades? Think about how much you've spent on blades in your lifetime. $3 to $5 a year. Bam! Not only is it better, it's also cheaper, and that's why it's time to say no to subscriptions and yes to a razor that will last you a lifetime. Visit hensonshaving.com/Flair to pick the razor for you. Be sure to use the code FLAIR, and you'll get 2 years worth of blades for free with your razor. Just make sure to add them to your cart. That's 100 free blades when you head to hensonshaving.com/Flair and use the promo code FLAIR.
The greatest talker in the history of the business is behind the mic once again. This is Woo Nation with Ric Flair.
We have to go to some of the fun things because do you have any remorse about it being impacting on the fact that Deion Sanders got fired for bringing up that statement to Dan Marino and Boomer Esiason about you supplying the quarterbacks before the games?
Say it again now. Say that again.
Well, I'm watching NFL Today, or whatever show that Esiason and Dan Marino were hosting the NFL, the pregame, right? And the first origination was Dion was on that show, right?
Yeah.
So Dion says to Boomer Esiason, because your book had just come out, right? And he goes, so how many women did LT send to your room? And of course,
well, listen, look, I didn't start that tradition. Let me tell you something. It was going on long before I got here, because, listen, I've been through my share, right? So, hey, I've been through my share, so I just thought it was a pretty good idea, and it worked. It worked on me, so I tried on somebody else.
So the idea here is, for those who don't know the story, you try to get the star player from the other team tired before the big game. So the night before, on Saturday night, somebody sends some girls to the room. They knock on the door and say, "I'm here for you," and then the all-star puts on a performance before the game that will affect his performance during the game. Is that right?
Well, listen, hey, like I said, I didn't start that tradition. Right? I perpetuated it.
Yeah, well, that's funny, though, is because when you have name recognition like you or someone like me in my business, we're always going to get the label as the guys that did it. Does that make sense? Ric Flair. Do you know how many women over the years, how many wrestlers have gone home to their wife as I traveled around the world and said, "Hell, I'm not coming home tonight, honey. I'm out with the world champion. And if I don't hang out with him, it makes me look bad."
I do that now.
Yeah. So anyway, 4 wives later.
Man, I tell you what, it's the life. It's the life of sports. You know, you can't really get away with it because this world is, this country is full of billions of people, and the people they love football and they love to be around athletes, and they love that limelight and stuff like that. And then it's easy to get carried away and get caught up in it.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that about myself. I don't know how. Yeah. I mean, I when I saw you in Houston, I went, "Oh man." I said, "Lawerence, where are we going tonight?" You said, "I'm going to Miami, brother." I don't care where you're going. I'm going to Miami.
I'm going home.
Yeah, I said, because the last time that you and I hung out, I've got to tell people, I tell everybody this. I'm at the Field of Dreams, as you were, right?
Yeah.
We're signing at Caesars, and you come walking in, and then 2 minutes later, in comes Mongo. Holy shit. I mean, need say no more about Mongo. Mongo used to carry $15,000 with him when he was with the company, wrestling her in cash, Yeah. I mean, you know what Mongo was doing, and he knows it too. It's not a secret. And I go, "Mongo, what are you carrying all that cash for?" He go, "Kid, I got more money than I got time."
I hear you.
Hell yeah.
I used to carry a lot of money with me at all times because I never know when a poker game's going to break out.
Exactly, yeah.
I tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I got to tell you, though, a highlight for me, it's your birthday. We're in Vegas. And LT says, "Man, we're going to go out tonight." I can't remember the name of the club, but kicking open the door of a big-time bar, Super Bowl weekend in Las Vegas with Lawerence Taylor and Mongo, man, I got to tell you, I thought the Four Horsemen had some action going on. Four Horsemen was nothing like walking to a bar with Lawerence Taylor and Mongo. Because Mongo, where Lawerence is just low-keyed, he doesn't need it. Mongo is so loud.
He is loud.
He loves.
I mean, God, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, he's screaming. Every girl is a...
There's no way you don't know he's in the play.
Oh, are you kidding? Because your wife was looking at him and and he was by himself, But Mongo can raise more hell and tell more girls what's wrong with them. And I can't even use the language on the podcast.
I don't know how the hell does he get away with
I don't know.
Is that his rap? I mean, he got to get a whole new rap. I'm telling you what.
I know. Yeah. Here's the deal. If we were married, and which you are, right? There's no getting a woman to come to the table with Mongo there, man.
No.
He's too rough.
Not unless she wanted to be physically undressed.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I don't know how he gets away with that because Hey, the stuff that comes out of his mouth is like off the top of his head.
I know.
It's like he has no filter.
No.
He doesn't care what he says.
I know. And you're just sitting there.
Listen, hey, I'm cool with it, but not everybody is.
Well, it's like he's in the locker room. He never leaves the locker room.
Oh boy, he is something else.
Yeah,
that's our next podcast guest. We gotta get Mongo.
Oh, Steve. I mean, Lawerence will tell you, Steve McMichael isn't shy. I mean, he says he calls Jim McMahon like he goes down the line. You know, he's so much fun to be with. I mean, he's got a ton of energy. You know, he's married now and he's got a baby.
I can't believe that.
And he's stayed married. I know.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, hey, I can't believe that.
Yeah. And he opened up
done through mail.
Yeah, he opened up a new bar. Yeah, he opened up a new club outside of Chicago. It's doing real well, Sports Bar. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Steve's cool, man. Money wise, he's cool as can be. I guess when he was at Texas, he got involved in some restaurants that came together, and good time. So going back to Mongo and the Bears. So another great night for me is LT comes to see me wrestle in like 83 or 84. I can't remember if it was Sting or Luger or Steamboat at the Continental Airlines.
Sting.
It was Sting, okay.
Yeah.
And then he goes to me, hey, come on back to my bar, we'll have some fun. So, man, that was wife number 2. So she's not with us anymore.
No, that was the first one. That was still first wife.
I was wife number 2.
Oh, that was your first. Your number 2. That was my number 1.
No, my number 2. I'm never going to discuss your marriages. I'm talking about my own problems. Okay, that was wife number 2. But we go over there, and about 6 or 8 of the guys came. And, man, we had the time of our life. That was a beautiful club. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's playing the Bears the next day, right?
So this is a Saturday night, and LT's got a game the very next day.
LT's got a game the next day. All I got to do is catch a plane. I got nothing. All I got to do is get in the ring and, like we talked about before, hold still, right? He's got to play, right? He's got a blue Jaguar. Am I right? Was it a blue Jaguar?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, he got that blue Jaguar and drove off, and we got a little. I said, "There's no way this guy played." He had 3 sacks against the Bears.
Wow,
it's the greatest.
Well, I like to get before a game. I like to get at least 2 or 3 hours of good sleep.
Hey, tell me that you've hung around with Charles Barkley.
I've hung with Charles. Charles is, Charles is he's another guy that doesn't have a filter.
I know.
You know?
God.
Great personality. I mean, a fun dude to hang with. But he's another one of those guys that don't have a filter.
Yeah.
Hey, he says what's on his mind, and if he doesn't like you, you'll know it. Just wait 5 minutes. He'll know.
Yeah, but I mean,
he will definitely tell you.
Yeah, I was kind of going with the fun angle, though. He is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And he can drink those Long Island iced teas, man. Holy cow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still out there drinking or not, but back in the days, he could put them down. You know?
Yeah. Well,
we all could.
I'll reassure you he is.
Older now, so now we settle on half a bottle instead of the full bottle.
Yeah, okay.
That's actually something I read this past week, Rick, when we knew we were going to have LT on. I read a quote the other day that explained exactly why you like him so much. When Taylor was once asked what he could do that no outside linebacker could, his answer was drink.
It's better than taking pain pills, right?
I hear you. But I tell you what, like I said, I was real fortunate. I played for a great coach. I mean, I had some real good coaches. Ray Perkins was my first head coach, but I've always had Bill Parcells. He was my defensive coordinator.
Yes.
When I got there, and he became the head coach in year 3. And Parcells, I don't know if I could have done what I did. I mean, yes, you had the talent to do it, but you might not have the flexibility to do it because some coaches want to coach and they want to coach just one way. They just listen. Hey, you have to do it this way. You got to step right here and then go left, or you got to go left and then go right. Or hey, Bill was like, "Hey, I don't care where you go, just get there." You know?
Yeah.
And he was. I remember the first week of practice. I mean, he was on my ass every play. I mean, I couldn't do nothing right. He just on me. And one day I just said, "Hey, listen, Coach. You can cut me, you can trade me, you can put somebody else in here. I don't care what you do. But one thing, you got to get the hell off my back. You know, I don't work like this." And Parcells, he looked at me, and he realized I was a pretty good player. And he said, "Well, okay, I'm going to let you do it your way, but if you do it wrong, then you got to do it my way." So I didn't have to talk to him again for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And so Bill was the type of guy that allowed me, and I don't know how it came about, because I would screw up on certain defenses. And I remember we was playing stack cover 2, and if I'm on the weak side, I have to rush. If I'm on the strong side, I got to drop off and pass. And you know, you got people going in motion, and then you got to figure out if it's a wide receiver going in motion, if it's a back going in motion, where the tight end is. And I said, I ain't got time for all that shit, right? So I would always get it wrong. But I would get it wrong, and you know, I would create a sack or cause a fumble, and every time I did it, and one time I did it wrong again, and I caused a fumble, and I come running off the field, and Bill looked at me, he's like, "You know what? Hey, we don't even have that play in the defense." I said, "Well, Coach, you better put it in on Monday, because it's a doozy." You know?
That's great.
So I mean, and we put it in, and that was one good thing about Parcells and Bill Belichick. They allowed our defense to play with some freedom. Now, there's certain guys that, hey, listen, you can't give them no freedom. But they allowed me to play with freedom. They allowed Harry Carson to play with freedom, Brian Kelly. You know, they allowed people to play with freedom, and as long as we was all on the same page.
Yeah. Hey, not to change the subject, but I think of stuff that's coming along the line, because, you know, and I'm always going to conclude myself in this conversation, but guys like you and I have been critiqued, you know, for having some fun and stuff like that over the years. What's your take on this kid from the 49ers, who I got to know a couple of years ago, that just got busted again with the guns and all that crap? I mean, he's a great player. The linebacker that just got the 49ers had to cut him. He's been in so much trouble.
I don't really know the what happened with that situation and stuff. But you know what? Hey, I'm not a gun person.
Yeah.
You know what? Hey, if I need to carry a gun where I'm going, then I don't need to really go there.
No. You know? What I'm saying is, though, is like, it's hard for me to figure out is how a guy, when we're going back to the money thing now, this kid's making $9, $10, $12 million a year, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. And he gets on a plane and calls bomb. I mean, just stuff that you would never imagine. And I just wondered if you had any idea what that was.
I don't understand that, you know, carrying a gun or whatever it is. But you know what? I do remember back when I was playing, and I was coming from a awards banquet in St. Louis, and I got on I was going through security, and it wasn't it wasn't security like they have now.
Yeah.
You know, but I was going through security, and the lady said something to me. I said, "Yeah, I'm carrying a bomb." You know, I said, like I'm carrying a bomb, and because I used that word, you know what? Mm-hmm. They pulled me out of the line. I had to. I couldn't get on the flight. I had to go upstairs and wait till the FBI comes. You know, so I mean, hey, it's some serious stuff. You know, and I can understand guys. If you're going to carry a gun on the plane, put it in your checked baggage.
Yeah.
Why would you take a gun on an open plane? I don't understand that.
Yeah. No. Well, even forget about open plane. Plexico Burgess takes it into a strip club in New York and shoots himself in the leg.
Yeah, but that's like I said before, I'm not that. If I can't do it with my hands, and I'm just crossing the things that where you and I might be scrutinized for having a drink. No one's going to ever say we walked into a strip joint with a gun. No.
And the kid from the 49ers wasn't carrying a gun. He had a machine gun. Where's he going to go with that?
I mean, it's that new mentality.
Yeah.
I would just make the point. I think the league has changed, and, hey, you can't do all that foolishness anymore because, the commissioner comes down pretty hard. Comes down pretty hard on the players now for foolishness, and and there's so much money in the game. So they're playing this. Only thing I don't understand is why are you paying a guy $43 million, $44 million a year to be the commissioner? Which I thought when you are the commissioner, everything, the buck stops here.
Yeah.
I mean, you are in control of it, and you run the show, and you make the rules, and you hand out the discipline. But every time it's challenged in court, he loses.
Yeah.
So why are you paying him?
Well, that's my question.
Guy. He's not. He's the fall guy.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I would be leery about. I mean, and every time he suspends somebody, hey, I'll just take it to court. Just take it to court. Hey, he ain't won one in court yet.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, I got to tell you, because I'm sure that you're a players union guy. Then you respect because how in the hell does a guy make $43 million a year, which is the figure I didn't know. It's 29 base salary, I think. He doesn't play a down. He doesn't do nothing. He got busted for lying. With the thing with Ray Rice, I mean, either he lied or somebody lied. I mean, and he spent millions of dollars on these investigative processes. I mean, it's such a bunch of crap. And then the next day, and they wonder why the players want to get money. I don't blame them for getting paid. The owners, and I think I feel terrible. But I mean, the guys, and I hope you don't ever end up in that position. You seem like you're is tight right now mentally as you've ever been in your life. Right. But God only knows nobody got knocked around any more than you in 13 years. I mean, these kids are in and out in 2 years and their lives are over. Now the concussion stuff going on and, it just changed so much. And then you got Goodell making all this damn money. Well, they're paying him $43 million a year. I don't think it's wrong for a guy to make $20 million a year. They're the guys that are making him the money.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't never down a man for making money and stuff. I mean, if he can do it, God bless him. But with great wealth comes great responsibilities, and then with this responsibilities, it comes a lot of different things. I mean, he has taken on the power of the NFL. I think, but mostly in name. I mean, because he does. I mean, it used to be when the commissioner says something, it's law. Because he's the top of the food chain. But that's not the case right now.
Was Pete Rozelle the commissioner when you were playing?
Pete Rozelle and then Tagliabue.
Yeah, Tagliabue. So I know when Rozelle said something that nobody bucked up, but it's like if someone said to you, hey, Lawerence, I'm going to pay you $25 million a year, which is the kind of money, if you were alive right now, that'd be the minimum you'd be making, right? And they said, I'm going to pay...
Listen, if I was playing now, it would be called Giant and Taylor Stadium.
Giant Taylor. I agree with you. That's how I feel about if I was working for Vince right now. Giant Taylor Stadium, yeah.
Man, I got to tell you, I sat down to record today, and the doorbell rang. And the doorbell almost never rings here at my house. And I thought, well, what in the world is this? So I go and I see UPS driving away. So I look at my front porch. Bam, there it is. A full box of Factor. Guys, I'm sold. I got to give you a peek behind the curtain. Factor, like all of our advertisers, will send us something to try it out, see if we really like it, see if we really want to endorse it. I liked it so much, I signed up. I'm subscribed. I'm getting 14 meals a week. My lunch and my dinner every single week are from Factor. I absolutely love it. I think you will too. They're America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, and they make it so easy. It's so fast. It's so convenient. It's cheaper than takeout. It's faster than takeout. How do you beat 2 minutes? That's all it takes. These are fresh, never frozen meals. You heat them up in the microwave in 2 minutes, and it's fantastic. We've had some sponsors like this on our network in the past, and I've tried them all, and they were okay. This food is fantastic. And maybe if you're calorie conscious, they can help you with that too. They've got calorie smart meals that are like 550 calories or less. They've even got a keto option. Maybe you're doing some vegan and veggie stuff. They can do that. Maybe you're bulking up. You want protein plus. They got you. It checks all the boxes no matter what you're trying to do. You've got 34 different chef prepared, dietitian approved weekly options. You'll never get in a rut, and it'll fit your lifestyle. They can even help you out with snacks and breakfast. They've got stuff like egg bites and smoothies. I haven't tried the egg bites yet. The smoothies are fantastic. I can't recommend this enough. I'm sold on it. So is my wife. My parents were a little skeptical. I brought a couple of meals to the office for them to try one day. Bam, they loved it. They're using Factor too. Seriously, everybody I've had try one absolutely loves it. I think you will too. I encourage you, try it, check it out, see if it's for you. You won't be able to beat the price. You won't be able to beat the convenience. And for me, man, you won't be able to beat the taste. But you can also know exactly what you're eating. You're going to be able to plan a little bit if you're trying to get that summer bod going. Head right now to factormeals.com/Flair50. Use the code Flair50 and man, you'll get 50% off your first box. That's code Flair50 at factormeals.com/Flair50 to get 50% off your first box.
But I mean, you can imagine with making $25 million a year. And, well, go ahead. Conrad's got a couple of questions for you.
The thing that I'm most fascinated about your career that really is topical right now is it seems make-believe, really, but the USFL once tried to challenge the NFL in the early 80s. And back in 83, Donald Trump, who's all over the news these days, owned a team and wanted your services. And so I kind of want you to sort of fill in the blanks for us. Obviously, he's, a big name right now because of his presidential run. But back then he was trying to make waves with his own team, and he thought he landed you. What happened with that whole deal?
Well, Donald Trump has always been a name. I'm tell you what. And when he had the USFL, and he took Herschel Walker from the NFL straight to the USFL and
the Generals. And
it's back in those days when I was my third year in the league. I was making $125,000 a year. I'd been the defensive player of the year for the last couple of years and stuff, and I really didn't think I was making enough money. Even though I was for our team, I was, pretty good. I was paid more than any other third-year player, whatever. And I was sitting at home, and the phone rang, and I answered the phone, and they said, "Hold for Donald Trump." So I, he came on the phone. He said, "Hey, LT, how you doing?" I said, "Fine, Mr. Trump. How are you?" He said, "Listen, if you look out your window, there's a car outside a limo. I want you to come and talk to me for a second." So I'm like, "Hey, okay." Hey, I jump in the car to drive on up to New York, and you go into Trump Plaza. You go up to his floor, go sit in this little theater he has where he can tell the Trump story. You know, it's always, you know, he got the Trump story is on tape, you know, DVD, whatever it is. So I was watching the Trump story.
This is great.
I walked in, so finally I walked into his office. He said, "Listen, you know what? I'm not going to beat around the bush." He said, "I want you to play for New Jersey General." I said, "Well, that's nice, but I still got 3 more years with the Giants." He said, "I'll wait." He said, "Listen, to tell you how serious I am," he said, "Here's the number to your bank. Call your bank." You know, so I see, check on your account. So I thought I had about, you know, at least 50,000 in my account. Hey, I call up there. I got 1,050,000.
Wow. That's a great story.
He put $1 million into my account that day. He said, "Listen, this is that you know that I'm serious. I want you to sign a future contract. In 3 years, when your contract is up with the Giants, I want you to play for the General." You know, it took me about, I don't know, 3 seconds to think about it. I couldn't even control myself. Shoot, that pen just signed itself. So and it worked out, but at the end of the day, by the time I got out of that office and back to Jersey, it was all over the news. And so George Young and the Giants say this, and not only that, and George Young and the Giants decided to buy Trump out. Let me keep my money, the $1 million. Buy Trump out, and the next year I was making $700,000 a year instead of making $140,000 a year.
Yeah, that's great, man.
And I became the highest paid, player in the league. So it worked out well. So I really never have any bad thing to say about Donald Trump because he looked after me, and he's been a good friend over the years.
Oh yeah, I mean, I like Donald Trump. I mean, a lot of people are in uproar over him, but I mean, another guy that you say has no filter. We're using that terminology today, but he can afford not to.
Yeah, but only problem is, hey, listen, if he deports everybody, he don't have no Mexicans working for him. I mean, hey, he won't be able to do no work. All of Mexico works for him now. So listen, what the hell is he talking about?
I know. Oh God. Well, the main problem is he's got to quit healing on the anchors on Fox News. Good Lord, the girls. Jeez.
So we talked at the beginning of the show.
Hey, but you got to admire a person in his position. He's worth over $10 billion, so he doesn't need anybody.
No.
He doesn't need anybody, so he can say pretty much what he wants to say, and that's what he does. Mm-hmm. But that is all right to a point.
Yeah.
When you speaking for a nation, you can't say everything you want when you're speaking for a nation.
Yeah.
So that's the only problem I think he's going to get into, because at the end of the day, when all these primaries and all this bullshit are over with, then the people have to sit down and decide: do you want, or who do you want to speak for you? As a country, as a nation, who do you want to speak for you? Do you? Because I don't want to get into a war because you don't like the color of somebody's shoes or something like that. I don't want to do that.
No, I totally agree. I just don't think. I think that this stuff, and gosh, I don't know, politics is not a good subject to discuss it.
Yeah, but if you're a builder, build. If you're a politician, then you politic.
Yeah.
But I think you get, God gives you certain talent, and and the one that he has is he can help build this nation from the ground up, but not when the building is already done. Do you need politicians?
Yeah.
There,
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you stay in touch with him now?
I see him every now and then.
Yeah.
Of course, I see him at the golf course.
Yeah.
And stuff, but hey, and I tell you what, he always speaks to me.
Yeah.
He's a perfect gentleman. I mean, he's a good guy. But and I'd like to see what's going to happen with his run.
Well, can I just say something it's very heartfelt for me to say this to you? Who wouldn't speak to you? And who wouldn't walk up and, who wouldn't, no, I'm serious, who wouldn't feel honored? I can't tell you how cool it was for me to bring my friend who's the co-host of the show and my girlfriend over to meet Lawerence Taylor. And I hope you know sincerely that's how I feel about you. I mean, not only as a person, but what you've achieved. The being the person you are, you've come. You're an awesome guy that's accomplished so much. But as a celebrity, I can only imagine. And they say Mickey Mantle had it, and Joe Nathan had it. It had to be really cool to walk down Manhattan with the LT earring on, knowing it was Lawerence Taylor. I wish I could have been there one day for that shit. Good Lord. So you have Donald Trump.
Like I said, I've been fortunate in a lot of things. New York, to play in New York, and to experience that New York life, bad and good, is something that you'll always be able to think back on, and back to the days of the yesteryears, and always at least have a little smile on your face, because hey, it was a good experience.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm sure he's just equally as glad to see you and shake your hand as you are feel like that when you see him.
Yeah, I bet.
No, go ahead.
So, Mr. Taylor, I want to ask a football question. We kind of, glossed over it at the beginning of the show, but it's a pretty damn big deal. You're the last guy to win the MVP as a defensive player. It only happened one time before. Alan Page from Minnesota won it in '71. You did it in '86. There was a lot of talk last year that J.J. Watt was up for the MVP. Mm-hmm. What is your take on J.J. Watt and the way he's captivated America?
I think J.J. Watt is a very good player. He has a great motor. He plays every play. Very seldom takes a play off. And I love his motor. When it was having the discussion about being the MVP. Of the league, I told you earlier that the what makes a great defensive player is that he can play on his own, but he makes other players around him better. I really think J.J. Watt was the most valuable player for that team, but if you can't take your team to the playoffs, then you can't be the most valuable player in the league.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And he's a great kid. So
yeah, and I think, listen, I look at him on the football field. He goes 110%. He's fierce. He's strong. He's a great defensive player. I wouldn't know what to tell my offensive tackle to do about him if they was playing, because he really cuts down the lanes when he pass rushes, and when he comes in he restricts the lane. So it's like ain't too much you can do against him. But he's a very hard player, and hopefully he's be able to take it throughout the years.
Yeah. So I read online that you grew up in Virginia, but grew up a Cowboys fan. What made you a Cowboys fan? Just because they were on TV every
my
week?
My dad was a Redskins fan, so so he always, the Redskins and Cowboys always played, and if he was going to root for the Redskins, hell, I'm going to root for the Cowboys. Yeah. So
you liked Hollywood Henderson, right?
Redskins fan. I never was a Redskins fan and stuff like that, but my dad had to make a decision when when I went to Giants, he had to make a decision who he liked. He decided he liked me, but still, he's a Redskins fan.
Yeah, they have a huge following. It's amazing, and they haven't played that well lately.
No.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier in the show that you didn't really get into football until your junior year of high school, and most of the time when you have somebody with your type of credentials in football, they grew up playing it their whole life. What kind of made you make the transition from baseball to football? Did your high school coaches recruit you over, or how did that come about?
Well, you know what? I tell you, Coach Jones, Melvin Jones, is a coach that was at Lafayette for 30 years. I mean, he's there, and every athlete that's ever come out of Lafayette that was a decent athlete or any athlete has met Coach Jones and been tutored by Coach Jones. And I mean, he is something else when it comes to young athletes. And one day he challenged me in the hall. He challenged me to then dared me to come out to play football. I've always been a baseball player, and that's where, I thought my life was going to be playing baseball. And he challenged me one day to come out and play and try for football. And I came out, and like I said, I mean, for the first 6 weeks, man, they handed me my ass. But I learned how to hand other people their ass too. So and it worked out. I just got better and better and better and better, and until I got to a point where I was pretty good.
You think? Hey, listen, you gonna play golf today?
I will.
Okay, man. Well, we're gonna let you go. We had let's Conrad. You got another question? I'm just so thrilled.
Yeah, give me another question.
Oh well, let's do it. Let's talk.
If you don't mind, I don't want you to get irritated with me and then not sign a helmet for me next time I see you.
No, hey, I got you.
I got too many friends that want helmets.
Mine's in my den, by the way. Rick can verify that.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Taylor, how did the WWE thing first come about? Did Vince McMahon reach out to you, or did that go a different way?
You know what? Vince McMahon, he reached out to me to do the WWE. I think it was at WrestleMania. Was that WrestleMania 11?
WrestleMania 11, yes, sir.
WrestleMania 11, and I don't know. I tell you, I thought about it, and then when I met Bam Bam, I decided, yeah, I could do this. And, it was a great experience for me because I tell you what, I had never been in that type of atmosphere. It's one thing walking out in the stadium, with 80,000 people in the stadium, but to walk into an arena like that where all eyes are on you, you're the only match.
One-on-one. Yep.
One-on-one. I mean, listen, and I love one-on-one because you got to be able to compete. That's what life is all about, is competing. One-on-one. And I tell you, it was so different, and it was exciting. The atmosphere we had, Salt and Pepper singing, and we got everything was just a great atmosphere. And I tell you what, I am, and to this day, people come and say, "Hey, I know you. You were on WrestleMania 11. Yeah, okay, that's one of the things I did. Yeah, okay. But, it was fun the crossover from one I guess, sport, but to another. It was exciting, and I had a lot of the guys, the football guys, were there to cheer me on and stuff. So I tell you what, man, listen, I tell you what, Woo, we need to do this. Me and you need to have a match.
Hey, let's do it. I'll tell you what I want to do before we get off the air here. I have a friend named Kevin Nash, right? Who he does these gigs where he has a party where he offers up, you can buy a ticket for $300 to go out and party with him for a night, right? So yeah. I was thinking, if you were thinking what I was thinking,
Super Bowl party with Lawerence Taylor and Ric Flair?
A Super Bowl party. We advertise it. We charge $1,000. If Michael Jordan could charge $25,000 a week for a damn basketball camp, the LT and I can charge. We could take 100 people at $1,000 a piece, right? $2,000,
It'd
right?
Be cheaper than the bar tab.
And we rent a club and we throw a Super Bowl party, man. Party with an H and LT. Woo!
I'm good with it. I just got to work on my woo, but I'm good with that.
All right, man. Well, we love you, buddy.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Hey,
thank you so much.
Knock him dead on the course today, and I'm honored that you came on the air today. Thanks, LT.
Thank you, Rick.
Lawerence Taylor. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, buddy.
Bye now.
So how about that, Rick? We've talked about this for a long time, that you didn't just want to do wrestling. We wanted to branch out. We wanted to do some other type of athletes. Lawerence freaking Taylor on Woo Nation today.
Well, I just I'm glad you got to meet him, of course, but to get the guy's personality, man. And like you said, he hasn't done this before, which is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's no taking away, no denying whatsoever who the guy is in sports and history. And I think that he felt what there is, even at WrestleMania 11, the cross-demographic appeal of being, an athlete. That all the football players love the wrestler, just like we love them. Or same with baseball.
What really shocked me the most in this thing today, I did not expect for him to name drop Johnny Weaver. I mean, he's an old school wrestling fan.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I didn't wrestle Becker, but LT did see me wrestle Johnny Weaver. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah, he was right there. I told you. I met him when he was like 17 or 18, so.
There's just a lot of folks online who probably have a different impression of him, who didn't like that a non-wrestler was in the main event at WrestleMania. But to know that he even knows who a guy named John, half the WWE roster doesn't know who Johnny Weaver is. And Lawerence Taylor did. That's awesome. That's
the thing. If you grew up in the South in the old days, you knew who Johnny Weaver was.
Absolutely.
You knew Rip Hawk, Sweet Hansen.
Yeah.
And then, which is a terrible thing to have to say, then pretty soon you had to learn who Ric Flair was. Am I possibly this old? Good Lord.
Well, the people at Rich Chris yesterday do not think you're old at all.
Oh, well, good deal. Yeah, just yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are in Huntsville as we speak right now. We are taping in the Conrad Radisson's own personal studio, which he has built in his house now. Nice extension. But I did drive down here yesterday with my girlfriend Wendy, and I hurt myself. Not as bad as Conrad hurt herself, but Wendy, who never drinks, hurt herself as well. And when I go to bed at 7:30 at night, there's something wrong. But when I started at 1 o'clock in the afternoon,
I tried to cover for you too, because the guys were like, "Is he really going to bed right now?" I'm like, "Well, it's 8:30 Eastern."
Please do, please do not order 20 pizzas and pasta meatballs again at 7 o'clock.
In fairness, I was following direct orders from headquarters. Fight Plus is the ultimate digital platform for live sports and entertainment, and they're now offering a free 7-day trial at tryfight.com. Fight Plus is packed with a premium live event schedule, over 1,000 hours of live action every year, and a library of more than 4,000 hours on demand, plus exclusive content you can't get anywhere else. Fight is a great partner of ours. They support us, so let's support them. Give that free 7-day trial a shot, and you'll be a member for life. That's tryfight.com. TRYFITE.com.
Woo! Woo! Wings, now open for delivery from Uber Eats and Postmates in these fine cities. Delicious anytime, and the perfect meal tonight while you're watching wrestling. Woo! Wings, legendary flavors, world championship wings. Woo! For a full list of locations, visit RicFlairWings.com. Joining right in the action, Ric Flair Woo Wings. Amazing. Somebody rip me some more. More Woo Wings. Woo!
Hey guys, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Need to call a timeout real quick here. I wanted to tell your listeners what I've been telling my world listeners for a while now. It's about all the incredible things happening over on adfreeshows.com.
An all-new edition of The Insiders is here. Conrad sits down with author and historian Keith Elliott Greenberg to look back on his time with the WWF during the golden era of wrestling.
I wasn't working for, the JCP magazine, or I wasn't working for Vern Gagne's magazine as, everything was imploding. I was working for Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and I was watching the company expand, and I was watching talent I've been reading about in the other wrestling magazines arrive on the scene.
Ad-free shows members recently chatted one-on-one with the hardcore legend himself, Mick Foley, for the first edition of Ask Mick Live.
Is there a particular place that you get the Foley flannel?
Yeah, I do. I go on Amazon and I type in Buffalo Plaid. Buffalo Plaid is the one that has the even square checks, and I order them. They run small, so I order the 5X. Yeah, and I've got, if anyone's been watching Most Wanted Treasures, you'll see that I'm literally getting by an entire season with 3 long sleeve flannel shirts, a cutoff flannel shirt, and about 5 different t-shirts. And that's pretty much it, brother.
Hey, that's just a small taste of what Ad Free Shows has waiting for you, including a brand new perk, getting to join in on the live recordings of the shows with 4 levels to choose from. See for yourself why Ad Free Shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now at adfreeshows.com. That's right, sign up today at adfreeshows.com.